thought, the last week we got a lot better. I thought last week we played 3 really good halves out of 4. The first half at Trevecca was terrific. I thought both halves against Hiawassee we were really good. Second half against Trevecca we weren't great. We weren't bad, but it was a significant improvement over the first 2 games. We're starting to, in terms of things I like. I thought, this week we made shots, and everything looks better when you make shots. We shot the ball well from 3 both games, and converted some easy ones. And like I said, everything kind of looks better when you're making shots. The team's unselfish. They share the ball. Ball moves better. It's not sticking. I think guys are playing for one another. And defensively, we've been pretty good. I think we're holding people like 34% so far for the year, and we've had the second half against Trevecca wasn't great defensively, but outside of that we were really good last week in those regards. Areas we got to improve. Obviously, I think we have to. We've got to get tougher. We still got to make more loose ball plays. More 50-50 plays. We can get better in that area. Obviously, I think we can continue to rebound the ball better on both ends of the floor. We obviously have a good plus margin, but we've also had a significant size advantage in the 4 games. So there's areas to clean up. We turned it over 18 times against Hiawassee, which is way too many. So there's areas to go back and clean up and improve. Execution can get better. There's a variety of things, but so far going into the end of November, going into what's really a huge week for us, we feel good about where we are, but certainly have a lot to improve on to continue to try to push forward and win some more games. Yeah, well, obviously, the number one goal of our team every year is to try to win the South Atlantic Conference regular season title, and that road starts on Wednesday at Tusculum and continues on. We try to break the season down almost in the kind of weekly segments, and this is a huge week. When you go on the road in the league, it's a whole different deal. I mean, every win feels great. Road wins feel even better. To go into somebody's house, have to play well. I mean, it's a whole different deal. You're going to have a lot more outside distractions, from crowd noise to maybe different rims, the ball's maybe not what you used to, whatever it is, not sleeping in your own bed, not on your own normal schedule. So the road's always an adjustment, but the really good teams obviously play their best when things are at their toughest, and that's the mark of tough teams, is to perform your best when things are at their toughest. And it's going to be really tough for us this week. I mean, those are 2 quality teams. When you look at Tusculum and Newberry, dramatically different in how they play and how they approach it, but both tremendous coaches, Mike Jones, Dave Davis. One's going to be more of probably a grinded-out half-court slugfest. The other one, I think Newberry's averaging over 100 points a game, so that's going to be probably more of a racehorse style game. So present different challenges, tough venues, and as you know in this league, no road venue is easy, and we're going to have our work cut out for us. But I think we're at a point now, we've played 4 games. I think our guys are excited by the challenge, and it's early to play conference games. I don't like playing them this early in the year, but I think our guys will be excited. I think they'll respond well, and I think we'll hopefully play well, and that'll give us a chance to hopefully be in these games and have a chance there at the end. Well, I think obviously Jake's a guy that's a senior, and we need him to play like one, and he's a guy who's capable of putting up an All-American type season, and early on he's I thought the first 2 games he wasn't great, and then this last week he was phenomenal. He was at 6'10", he was 7 for 8 from the 3-point line and shot about 75% for the week, and had 2 20-plus point efforts. And Jake's a guy that's just any night he steps on the floor he's capable of getting 25, and he's a guy that I think is much more comfortable his senior year than he was last year. He transferred into us as a junior. I think there was a year of acclimation, and last year he was kind of our third post. He was behind Dez and behind Vinny, and now this year with Dez graduating and Vinny being injured so far, not playing, he's had to step into a starring role. And you look at his numbers, leads us in scoring, I think leads us in shot blocks, and leads us in three-pointers made. So 4 games in, he's been terrific, and we're going to need to play like that. I mean, like I said, he's an All-American type caliber talent, and if he can play at that level, it maybe makes us a whole heck of a lot better. In terms of Lorenza, you're talking about with Jake, a senior, playing like a senior. At the point guard, we lost a guy in Brandon Armstrong who was a 4-year starter. Was first-team All-Conference last year in the South Atlantic Conference. Was a 1,000-point guy, one of the all-time leaders in threes, points, assists, steals, everything. And Lorenza and CJ both are sophomores, and we need those sophomores to play like seniors because every really good team has 2 things: they got an anchor in the post, and they've got great point guard play. And Vinny's our anchor, hasn't been out there yet, and Jake's tried to kind of assume that, and Dustin Craig's done a really good job there as well of trying to kind of fill the void while Vinny's out. At the point guard, those 2 sophomores have to handle the responsibility. That's a lot on their plate because just like Jake, Lorenza was a backup guy last year, and now he's thrust into a deal where it's a whole different world where we got to depend on you to win. It's one thing where you come in and you can play some short spurts, and if you play great, great. If not, it doesn't matter. We're dependent on Jake Troyley, dependent on Lorenzo Ross, Wally Jones, Dustin Craig, those guys. They got to produce for us to win. And that's a whole different world for them based on what they've done prior to this year. But that's the great thing about college basketball is, change comes over, graduation happens. And for us, unfortunately, with Vinny being out, injury, and you take Vinny out of our lineup, from last year, we lose 4 starters and 3 all-conference players. So it's almost a whole new deal. And where we've gotten our production is from the guys who last year were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're now all of a sudden, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's how we've gotten off to the start, and hopefully those guys will continue to adapt and grow and get better as it goes on. And obviously, we want to get Vinny back as soon as possible, hopefully this week, and get him back on the floor and playing because we're a heck of a lot better when he's out there. But it's helped some of the younger guys grow, particularly Keenan Peterson, Kurt McMillan, guys who are sophomores and freshmen now getting significant minutes. And probably a year ahead of schedule for what we were looking at. Well, I think our identity. I hope our identity is a team that's hard-nosed and really solid defensively. A team that really competes on the backboards, and a team that's unselfish and shares the ball and takes good shots offensively. We don't really change anything year to year in terms of what we do philosophically. If you go back and look at our teams over, now for 5 years, the blueprint's been the same, but how you get there is different. And this team, is one that, from an identity standpoint, I know what I want it to be, and I want it to be that we're a hard-nosed, tough defensive team that's a great 50-50 ball team, a great rebounding team, and a team that where the ball moves and we share it, we're unselfish offensively, and we demonstrate great shot selection. I think we, the first 2 games, were relying on our offense to bail us out, and that's a normal characteristic when you have a team that's offensively talented. We have a team that really can make shots. We got a lot of really talented offensive players, but if you're a team where you rely on your offense to bail out your defense, you're not going to be very good. And this is a team where we got to rely on our defense and go out and find a way, on a nightly basis to bring the rebounding. And if we make shots, great. It's an added bonus. We're gonna probably win the game. But if we don't, seasons are made by winning ugly, and winning ugly is being able to win the nights that you don't make shots. What are the nights when you shoot 35% and you can't make a free throw? And that's going to happen to us. It'll happen to us a lot. And you gotta learn to enjoy, and you gotta learn to appreciate winning ugly and winning the nights where you don't have it offensively, because that's going to happen. But defense and rebounding, I think, are things that you can do every night, and that gives you a chance every night to be successful. And that's what our identity's got to become if we're going to have a chance to do some of the things that we hope we can here over the next 4 months.